Hey, what's going on, people? It's your boy Porter Rock 77 coming back at you with a quick live stream. Let me just do a quick mic check.
Hey, what's
Function.
going on, people?
Yep, sounds good. All right. Anyway, just I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope you're enjoying your weekend and stuff like that. I hope you have a safe weekend and you're enjoying your time. Hey, so if you're listening first time, hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other content. Subscribe, like the channel, and my channel's growing. I appreciate everybody that's been with me for this journey. But anyway, let's get on real quick to this topic. Is God of War niche title, however you pronounce it? Is it niche? So why am I asking this question? Well, over the last couple of days, it's not a big deal. This topic is not a big deal, but it's interesting just watching people discuss it. Over the last 2 days or so on Twitter, this topic really blew up because of Persona 5. My boy K Mega, shout out to K Mega. Check out his channel. We just had a great podcast. Gamer Recognizes Games. Great podcast. It was very mature. You had a various mixture of gamers who have a preference for console, but it's one of those podcasts that needs to happen more often among channels where people could just get together, discuss their preference, and and we just discuss and enjoy the conversation about our hobby. So it was a good channel. But anyway, so this topic blew up and it's lasted maybe two days. I mean, I rarely see topics last 2-3 days and involve so many people. I mean, you had a lot of channel. I mean, K Mega was talking about it. YouTube Twitter was talking about it. Mr. Negative, well, he was chimed in. Gamers Know Best, GKB, the governor, he chimed in. I chimed in. I mean, it was just a lot of people that started talking about this topic because of the definition of niche. It was pretty cool. It got to, and then once it started getting stupid and people started, talking shit, that's when I backed out of it. Because it was a good conversation because everybody was bringing up the definition of niche, using examples. It was just a normal conversation. But then, it became a counter word thing. And then I just lost interest in the conversation. But I'm bringing it up here just as a discussion, right? Now, the point that was made on why Persona 5 was niche was because it sold 2 million, right? Out of 60 million console fan base. And I know some people, they were even throwing in PS3, right? So if you throw in 60 million with PS3 and 80 million with PS4, that's like 140 million. But in reality, the PS3 don't have the leverage it did. A lot of people left the PS3 for the PS4. PS3 don't have that sales things, all right? But for the most part, the main point that was used was, Persona 4 sold 2 million, right? And it's on a platform that has 60 million units sold, okay? So it makes it about 3%. Only 3% of that population bought Persona 5, okay? Therefore, it's a niche title based on the math numbers, all right? Now, before we go into anything, I want you guys to see something. So I'm gonna screen share something, right? So bear with me one moment so I can share this with you all. All right. Give me a second. I will share this with you. Screen share. Yep. Share. All right. Okay, so it's sharing. I want you to look at, and this was also presented during the conversation. Hide this thing right here. All right. This right here, the definition of niche. I already knew the definition, but this was presented. Okay. And they use this one right here on the bottom, right? It says right here, denoting or relating to products, services, or interests that appeal to a small, specialized section of the population. All right? Okay, so using that definition and then looking at Persona 5 sales of 2 million out of 60 million console units, basically 3%, that was the definition of niche. And I think it was Gamers Know Best, GKB, the governor. Shout out to him. Great channel. Smart guy. He has great content. I think he has the Console Corner podcast. I apologize because I don't know off the top of my head when he presents it, but it was a good podcast. And I enjoyed the ladies' nights on that podcast as well. But it's a good podcast, so check him out. But he was the one that presented this information. He presented this definition, and he said Persona 5, mathematically, because it only sold to 3% of the population, it is a niche game. Now, one other thing that we need to say, just so that way we could get out the word, niche does not mean bad or good. It's not an opinion of something's whether it's good or bad. It's just a definition of pretty much relating to size. You know what I'm saying? So calling the game niche doesn't mean you're calling the game bad. It's just you're just saying that it only attract to a small population. Basically, what this definition says right here. Right now, here's my problem with using the percentage of the fan base. Because if that's the case, if and I think he also said that Call of Duty sold X amount on PS4, which equated to 10% of the population, so it's not niche. So based on his thing, anything that sells around 3% or 4 around there is niche. But if you start making 10% or higher, you're not niche. So based on that definition, one could argue God of War is niche. Now I'm going to show you something. If you guys can see it here too. You see this? This is official from Sony of at the time the sales of God of War and stuff like that. Now look at right here, God of War 2, right? God of War 2 worldwide sold 4.2 million units, right? Now, if you guys don't know, God of War 2 came out in 2007. This is on the PlayStation 2 towards the end of the PlayStation 2 life cycle because 2007 the PlayStation 3 was already out. Now, we all know PlayStation 2 sold 150 million consoles, right? So, looking at how many copies of God of War 2 sold, 4.2 million, or we also could look at God of War 1 because both of these games was on the PlayStation 2. 150 million units. One selling 4.6, the other one selling 4.2. That's 3% of the population. If to be honest, God of War 2 sold less than 3%. It sold 2.8 million. So is God of War niche? Look at God of War 3 sales. 5.1 million, right? 5.2 million, let's say. Okay, God of War 3. PlayStation sold around 85 million units. So mathematically, this is approximately 6% of the population. Is anyone going to say God of War 3 is niche? Is anyone going to really say that? So these are niche games, God of War? By definition, by the percentages, by the math, God of War mathematically is a niche title. Again, using this definition, it gets even worse. Because right here, here's PlayStation 2, the best-selling games on PlayStation 2, right? Now, again, PlayStation 2 sold 150 million units, right? Now, 5% of that number is 7.5 million sales, right? So you got Grand Theft Auto, 17 million, Gran Turismo, 14 million, Gran Turismo, 11 million, Grand Theft Auto, 9 million, Grand Theft Auto, 7.9 million. Now we're breaking down to the games that sold less than 5%. Metal Gear Solid 2, 7 million. Final Fantasy 10, 6.6 million. Tekken 5, 6 million. Final Fantasy 12, 5.2 million. It says shipped. Kingdom Hearts, 4.7 million. God of War, 4.6. We already saw that. Dragon Quest, 4.4. Madden, 4.3. Are all these games niche titles? God of War 2, as we saw, 4.2. Jack and Daxter, 4.2. Final Fantasy 4. Madden. Kingdom Hearts again. Mad Ratchet and Clank, 3.7. Metal Gear Solid 3, 3.7. Need for Speed. Medal of Honor. Guitar Hero 2. Are these niche titles? Because these games are selling less than 5% of the total unit base. WWE, Spider-Man, SOCOM, U.S. Navy SEALs, not even 3 million. Am I bugging? Lord of the Rings, Lego Star Wars, niche. Tony Hawk, Underground, niche. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2, niche. Resident Evil 4, Niche. Devil May Cry, Max Payne, niche. Are these games niche, ladies and gentlemen? Are we using the wrong metric to define what a niche game is? Because I think we do. We most certainly do. All right. Let me stop the view. I think we all got more than enough information. Ladies and gentlemen, niche is not defined by the percentage. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't count on percentage. I just prove those games are not niche. We will never say Metal Gear Solid is a niche title. What's funny is that was a question I asked GKB. I asked him because I presented this information to him. I told him, hey, God of War 2 sold 4.2 million. And the PlayStation 2 sold 150 million. That's about 3%. So I asked him, do you consider that niche? All he did was gave me the definition. He technically didn't answer the question. And I'm not going to answer the question for him. All right. But I'm making this video. There is no way God of War, Metal Gear Solid, and Final Fantasy are niche titles. You understand what I'm saying? If you truly believe this percentage, then you need to say Final Fantasy is a niche title. You need to say Metal Gear is a niche title. You know what I'm saying? Come on, let's be serious. God of War, a niche title? God of War sells consoles. It is a console seller. Console sellers aren't niche titles. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if I don't agree with their definition of niche titles, then what is my definition of niche in terms of gaming? You know, what do I look at? To me, niche titles have been low-selling games that can survive off of the low sales. For example, the previous Persona games. You know what I'm saying? Usually, Persona games only sell around 800,000, 900,000 copies. It don't sell a million, 2 million, 3 million. But guess what? The developers of Persona, they make profit out of it. You understand what I'm saying? So they're able to continue make games that only sell 7 to 800,000, a very tiny small segment of the gaming market. And their company grows and they're able to make games. They're able to continue the franchise. They've been doing it since the PlayStation 1. Another game, this Gaia, another franchise that's been around since PlayStation 1. That game only sells like 600,000 copies. You understand what I'm saying? But guess what? It survived, not even survived, it's successful with those sales because that's what the company do. That is a niche. Most games can't survive on 600, 700,000 sales. Most companies aren't designed that way. Most games, they need 1 million or more. On average, about 2 million. That's the necessity for the average game. You know what I'm saying? That's my difference. That's how I look at it, you know? So Persona usually does good with 900,000 sales, and they'll make another one. But this one in particular broke out the mainstream. It sold 2 million. It sold just as much as the average AAA game that everybody recognizes. You see what I'm saying? That's how it is. Now, I noticed some people are like, why are we talking about this? This ain't important. Actually, it is important. Because what you don't understand is, especially with social media, YouTube videos, and all this stuff, these market trends, developers, publishers, all this stuff, they listen to us. You understand what I'm saying? They hear us. They hear what we want. You know, they hear the trend. Oh, we don't like this, we don't like that. And many of them react to that. If they start thinking that we consider games that only sell 2 to 3 million as niche, you know, they might start thinking, damn, we need to do something to attract a broader audience because these titles that only sell 2 million, whatever, are considered niche. We can't have that. We need to go bigger. We need to go bolder. We need to do this. We need to go Call of Duty. And then this is why we get stuck with everything trying to be a freaking Call of Duty game. Sometimes we're our own monsters in this industry. We say one thing, we complain about this thing, and then when the industry listens, we get pissed off. You see what I'm saying? So now a game that sells 2 million, 3 million is not a big deal no more. So then what does a company do now? So now companies are forced to try to sell 7, 8 million, 9 million games. These are one of the reasons why a lot of developers are going bankrupt, or why only a few titles are being made a year, or why developers or publishers are too scared to create new ideas and new IPs, and they stick with the same regurgitated stuff. Because we hold this standard and we hold these descriptions that it's just almost impossible to meet. I mean, I never heard ever until this year, I never heard of a game that sold 2 million ever called niche. Never. Not on any platform or any generation ever before. Any game that sold over 1 million was considered a big, successful hit that people loved. Now, apparently, if you're not Call of Duty or Overwatch, you only attract a small segment of gamers. But never. I remember, look at Devil May Cry. Back in the days when PS2 was around, we were all saying, damn, everybody's playing Devil May Cry. Because it was just a big game, it was popular, and everybody was talking about it. But when you look at the numbers, it only sold like 3 million. It's not like it sold 15 million or 20 million. But back in those days, a lot of gamers were talking about it. And it was a big deal. Now, that shit would just be niche and be like, nobody really cares. So what message are we sending to the developers? What message are we sending to publishers when games that sell 2, 3 million is nothing? They're going to try to go for the Overwatch numbers, which means they're going to dumb down gameplay. They're not going to take chances on innovative game styles. They're going to stick to the shit that's already known and popular. So you're going to see regurgitations. Look at freaking Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's freaking a fucking DLC to Division. That's all Ghost Wildlands really is. It's a fucking map pack. But it works because that's what we want. That's what we give props to. No originality, no nothing. Nothing original. It's freaking Division all over again. You see what I'm saying? This is why I talk about it. Because we do it to ourselves. We talk all this shit about why developers ain't taking chances. Why developers and publishers ain't coming out creative ideas is because those creative ideas are apparently niche. So we don't want creative ideas. We want Overwatch. Just call it Lawbreakers or call it this game. You know what I'm saying? We want more Call of Duty, but just rename it. We want Division, but just rename it. We want Destiny, but just rename it. And then that's all we're going to get. Because apparently a game has to sell 15, 20 million to even be recognizable as a mainstream game. Because anything less is just something for a small, tiny segment that people really don't care about. That shit's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm not down with that. To me, 2 million is a successful title. It's not a small segment of the gaming. It's successful. Period. That's just it for me. I'm not going to play this percentage game. Well, only 3.98%. No, that's not how it is. That's not how it goes. Because again, if we go in that route, like 90% of the games that we all enjoy are niche titles. And I just gave you a full list of games that could be considered niche over that percentage crap. But that's just my point. The industry listens to social media. They listen to channels, they listen to gamers, and they react. And if we say the wrong shit, well, guess what? We're going to get what we get. And then we wonder why we get in less creative games and stuff like that. Why? Because we're doing it to ourselves. But anyway, this is your boy Porter Rock 77. Let me know what you think. All right. I hope I made sense. But anyway, but more importantly, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend and I hope you enjoy your time gaming and stuff like that. I'm about to be out. I'm about to hit up on this Neo, trying to finish this game up, and then we'll see what we're going down right after. I might boot up Mass Effect and stuff. But anyway, you guys are dope. Tune in next week. I'm going to have the final part 2 of my E3 blowout. This time focusing on PlayStation. I'm going to have Jay Barry and Nico Demas on my channel, along with the great panel of Jay Fonzarelli all day. And of course, Craig Harris. But anyway, don't forget to like the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy more content. And I will see you guys next week. Until my next video. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your time gaming. whatever you're gonna do today, one last thing, I'm finally gonna get to see Wonder Woman. I gotta go see it. Well, hopefully my wife doesn't mess that up. But anyway, peace out. Enjoy. Love you guys. Thank you for the support. And also, again, last night, K Mega's channel, GRG podcast, awesome podcast. Check me out. Jay Barry was there. Triple Cup Chuck, Jay Fonzarelli all day. It was great. It was an awesome, grown podcast. All right. But anyway, peace out. See you guys next week. Bacon, bacon, bacon. I'm out.